Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Thank you for clicking on my video because this one is going to be a really great episode. I'm here joined by Australian Sandstorm Pro, Ploppy the Jailer. Love the name, by the way. I actually first saw him playing in, I'm not sure if it was CR Worlds. I forgot where I first saw him, but either way, he's been on the competitive scene for a while now. I think he might be the first Australian pro that I've had on the channel, and today it's my pleasure to share with you guys his favorite deck in the game right now. Now, he went 20-0 in the CRL Challenge with this deck, and then he rattled off 3 Grand Challenge wins in a row with it afterwards. He loves this deck, and it's a really unique and cool deck that I'm really going to help you guys by sharing the tips that Ploppy shared with me throughout this episode. So, you can see right off the bat, it has 4 cards that I want to talk about early on here that you guys want to understand. We will do play-by-play, by the way, in probably the last 2 replays, because there's a lot to kind of talk about when kind of discussing the synergy of this deck. So I want to go over that and make sure you guys understand it in the first 2 replays, and then the second 2, it's going to be against Lava Loon and Golem. First 2 will be against Graveyard, as you can see, and against Expo. So the 4 cards I want to talk about in this chip deck. So it's a chip deck with Dark Goblin, who, by the way, I do still think is a great card, even though he's not very popular right now. I don't know, but you guys think about it. But, you know, obviously some people will say, hey, Ash, Barbarian Barrel is going to kill Dark Goblin. But, you know, I don't feel that way. I feel like, especially with this deck, you're giving your opponent a choice here. And that's getting back to the 4 cards. The 4 cards are Magic Archer, Dark Goblin, Minion Horde, and Goblin Gang. So the reason I mentioned those 4 cards is because those have a unique synergy. So it's a chip deck, meaning that you do have the miner in this deck, obviously. By the way, look at that beautiful spacing there, preventing the opponent from getting any poison value by placing the Dark Goblin a little bit further away from the Goblin Gang there. So Chris didn't even have the opportunity to really poison there on that graveyard push. So those 4 cards are important because it adds an interesting element of bait to this deck. Both big spell and small spell bait, right? So you have the miner to do chip damage. He's your win condition, technically speaking. But then you have the Magic Archer, which a lot of people, because he dies to poison and fireball, it actually is kind of in a strange way, it's a benefit to you in terms of the bait potential. It opens up you to be able to play probably the most lethal defensive and offensive card in the game when used at the right time in the Minion Horde. So the Magic Archer Minion Horde, you should think of those 2 as kind of a pairing in this deck. When your opponent uses a big spell and Magic Archer, as they're apt to do, they'll very likely not have a great answer for Minion Horde. Of course, depending on the deck they're playing, you'll have to identify what counters they will have, so you're not always just going to spam Minion Horde in Ice Golem or whatever, or Minion Horde in Miner if they fireball, say, your Magic Archer, but sometimes that will be the right play, as you'll see in these replays. The other 2 cards are Dark Goblin and Goblin Gang. So they act the same way, only with small spells, only with Log, against Barbarian Barrel. By the way, how are you guys doing in the challenge so far? I actually haven't played. I've played by the time you're watching this, but not by the time I've recorded this, because I want to do it live on Facebook streaming. I am a partner with Facebook Gaming. If you guys want to tune into any of my streams, you can check me. I'll put the link in the description below. But what do you guys think of the card? I'm still kind of 50-50 on it, honestly. I don't know yet. I'm just too early to tell, but I will put out a video about the Barbarian Barrel, probably closer to its actual release in the game. We'll see. Anyway, so the Goblin Gang and the Dark Goblin, right? Dark Goblin is great. I mean, with Dark Goblin and Magic Archer, you always have kind of that bridge spam option if you ever need that quick chip damage with this deck. Really quick combination of Magic Archer and Dark Goblin can take down a tower when it's low on HP. So you have both of those cards as well. If your opponent logs or barb barrels your Dark Goblin, of course you have the Goblin Gang that you can punish with as well, in combination with the Miner, or of course in combination with the Ice Golem at the bridge, and a move that you definitely see Ploppy doing quite a bit here. So those are the 4 like really cool kind of you know, synergies that this deck has for you guys that most chip decks don't really have. So it's not a bait deck per se, but it's definitely a chip deck with some bait elements to it, which makes it incredibly lethal against really any deck. That's the beauty of this deck, and Ploppy was kind enough to kind of give me a text overview against every difficult matchup in the game. So what I want to do is just provide that for you guys in the description below, rather than going over every single deck and how to handle it with this deck. Some of it might be quite obvious. So here we go. We actually got a great fireball out of the opponent there, and if you rewind a bit there, you might have missed it. He placed that Dart Goblin knowing that the Dart Goblin would shoot through both of the archers because they were coming in kind of single file line rather than next to each other, vertically. So very, very good job here, or I should say horizontally. Oops, kind of struggled there. I went to say laterally, and then I was like, I couldn't think of the word laterally, so I went with whatever, Ash. Anyway, so here we go, taking the left tower down to 1540 already, guys, and you can see the opponents really hasn't been able to get into their groove, get into what they want to do here. They've been too busy trying to defend against kind of this onslaught of chip damage, really, from Ploppy. And here you go, again, baiting out that log here, so here it comes. We talked about this, right? Goblin Gang directly behind that Ice Golem, applying more pressure, sending in that Miner, and the opponent's still not able to get an Expo down on the board. It must be really frustrating to be Le Anonymous here from Dark Ops. And again, a beautiful Magic Archer there. He's going to be able to hit again the left tower there and draw out another Fireball. So just a really beautiful kind of sequence of plays here. And now this is what we talked about. Because the Fireball was used against that Magic Archer, it's going to open up Ploppy to be able to play his minion horde. He spams everything he has behind it. Of course, the opponent is sitting on log. He's not sure if he has to use it yet, but at this point, he's like, you know what? I need to place an Expo here if I'm going to win. So he decides to hold and place an Expo on the right, or excuse me, to give that left tower, place an Expo on the right there. And now, you know, Ploppy has this match. He really made it look super easy, and that's because, frankly, it is kind of easy. You can see, if you play this deck correctly, just how lethal it can be there. And the final thing I want to note about this matchup, guys, is you saw at the very end there that Magic Archer was able to take out or to snipe that Expo a little bit without being in range of the hidden Tesla. Another benefit to the Magic Archer, of course, a 12-tile range on its follow-through of the arrow of the Magic Archer, further than the Princess's 9-tile target range on that Magic Archer. By the way, I have an Ernie collab coming up soon. And the Magic Archer will be the subject of that video. I think it's going to be like 12 tips for Magic Archer, which ought to be really good. You can see, especially in these last two replays here, you're going to see a lot of value out of the Magic Archer, and stay tuned for the Golem matchup because it's a really difficult one, and you're going to see exactly how Ploppy handles it really brilliantly, getting a ton of value out of Magic Archer, especially, and Dart Goblin in that matchup. So here we go. We're going against Lava Loon with arrows. So a really annoying deck, considering that we really thrive off of the minion horde in this matchup, but it's not going to be that big of a deal here for Ploppy. So I think the opponent also might have another spell, Poison maybe, I think. Let me see. I forgot already. Either way, we're setting up with the Magic Archer here, just getting great value. Magic Archer just chilling in the back, kind of just sniping everything away. Okay, they do have poison as well, so poison and arrows, really annoying to go against when we have, you know, Goblin Gang, Dart Goblin, Magic Archer, and Minion Horde, 3 of the 4 dying to arrows and poison. So, but Ploppy's going to make it look, you know, fairly easy here. So, again, just doing a good job applying pressure here. You can see we have the elixir advantage, so we're just going to cycle our Dart Goblin behind that tower. Again, luring out a poison, and that might have been a big mistake here for the opponent. Remember, guys, that bait element to this deck, and there it goes. Poison's down now on the opponent. So we're going to get ready for a pretty sizable push here on the right, preventing them from getting, excuse me, a really big Lava Hound push. And you can see he hesitates there, but he plays the Lava Hound. We know he doesn't have poison in hand, and we just start spamming on the right here. We have Goblin Gang, Ice Golem, and a Magic Archer. I think we're going to go ahead. Are we going to cycle to Miner? We're not going to, but Magic Archer does latch on to that right tower, taking it all the way down with the help of a few Spirit Goblins to 700 damage or so. Now, we're going to take a lot of damage on the left here. We have Magic Archer set up in the middle, but of course, when the opponent has both poison and arrows, it's going to be very difficult to defend. Of course, when we're defending with the Minion Horde and we know they have poison in hand, this goes for any matchup where they have poison, you're using your Minion Horde. You want to play the Minion minion horde closer to the bridge. That way they can't get the tower value out of it, and forces them to use their poison really early. So here comes that miner getting some tip damage, and Dark Goblin and Magic Archer making work of that right tower. Magic Archer, of course, going right through those troops, taking down the tower here. So all we have to do is defend. This actually comes down to it at the end. I think that we win. Yeah, we win without him getting our left tower, but it was ever so close at the end here. So again, we know he has poison in hand, so we're placing the minion horde very close to the bridge. Of course, once he uses there it is, right? Once he uses the poison, he doesn't have enough time to come back, take down that left tower. So very, very nice victory there for Ploppy. Now let's watch this golem matchup. Actually, before the golem matchup, I want to show you guys another pro play that he uses Ploppy to punish pumps that I had to record from Twitter, from a Twitter clip that I had. So here it is, guys. Okay, guys, so this is the method that Ploppy uses when he doesn't have a spell in hand with the miner and he wants to punish the pump. He actually sent me a little clip here on Twitter, so we'll watch it here because I don't have actually any real-life gameplay examples to record for you guys. So basically, you can see no log in hand right now. He could just cycle to the log, but instead he opts to play the Magic Archer and the miner, and that's the positioning right in the center of the arena there. And what's going to happen there is the Magic Archer is going to go ahead and snipe whatever swarm unit your opponent drops, and your miner is going to be able to still get a bunch of damage, and your opponent is still going to have to respond to your Magic Archer. So that's just another method that you can use with this deck to try to attack or punish the pumps if your opponent has one. We are back. Now let's go ahead and watch how he handles this Golem matchup. So this Golem deck is a little bit different. It's more challenging than the classic Golem Double Prince deck. I think instead of maybe Mega Minion, this deck has Poison. So another deck with Zap and Poison, 2 spells. We'd rather deal with the classic Golem Double Prince deck with just NATO and Zap in it. But instead of NATO, I believe it has Poison. Either way, you're going to see how Ploppy deals with it here. So again, placing that minion horde closer to the bridge there on the first placement, and the minion horde is actually going to come in. We redirect that baby dragon with the miner. Going to get a decent amount of damage here off this left tower. In fact, we're going to take it down all the way to 1100 HP. Not what the opponent wanted to start out this match. Now, we're going to do a brilliant job kiting here throughout this match, and that's going to be a key when going up against a heavy Golem deck or even a Goizen deck, is getting a lot of kite value out of our Ice Golem, and heck, even our miner defensively if we need it. We might need that extra solid kind of glass tank, and the miner makes a good example of that. We'll see some examples of that actually coming up soon. So here comes a Magic Archer to defend in the left lane. We send in that miner on the pump on the right lane. You can see we sent in that miner so quickly, so aggressively, the opponent didn't have enough elixir to play the prince to defend it, or to protect the pump, I should say. So again, we're going to drop an aggressive minion horde here to stop that prince dead in its tracks. Remember that a minion horde will always counter a prince or a dark prince or even a pencil. A battle ram if you drop it right at the bridge to encounter the opponent's troops. If you drop it closer to your tower, you're not going to be able to kill the troop before it gets a stab or a hit or a connection onto your tower. So here we go. Drop the golem. The opponent does. We're going to go ahead and apply a little bit of pressure, to the right lane. We don't get a ton of damage, but we force the opponent to use a dark prince. That's 4 elixir less that he can spend on this big push, which is inevitable in the left lane. So here it comes. It's a baby dragon and a golem. Unfortunately, that baby dragon does lock onto that Dark Goblin. Of course, Ploppy probably placing the Dark Goblin just before he saw the incoming baby D. But here's what we do here. Look at this. Right now we're going to kite both of these princes. Look at the Magic Archer. Look at how much value that Magic Archer is providing, guys. And then we kite after we use the miner. We kite with the Ice Golem. We pull everything to the right lane, and again we have the minion horde ready at the bridge this time. The opponent does use poison, but how much value did that Magic Archer get before he died, guys? It was incredible. That Magic Archer was, I mean, honestly, this is just God's honest truth to you guys, is after watching this video, I do have kind of a newfound respect, thanks to Ploppy, for the Magic Archer. You can see how in the right hands, in the right deck, Magic Archer can actually be really effective. So guys, if you want to check out Ploppy's stats, check out the link I'll have in the description below to his Stats Royale profile. You can see all his percentages, his decks in his recent matches. Really great player. Again, shout out to him, all the Australian, a very vibrant community in Australia for Clash Royale. So shout out to all those Aussies out there. And of course, shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information in the description below. Guys, thanks so much for watching. And as always, take care, guys.